You are welcome back from that short break, and we are excited. We have been joined in the studio by our first guest. He is the founder and leader of the QUAME GYEDU Ministries, and this is a ministry of praise and worship. He is also a producer. He has produced a lot of songs to his credit, like Kai Boshen by Selena Boatin, also other ones by Ernest KWESI, among a lot more that he has done to his credit. And he's also now doing music. He's a singer and also a producer. QUAME GYEDU is our guest this afternoon. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
Wow. It's good to have you here, but let's take you back to your childhood. I would think that for you to be able to do these things, your childhood might be a certain way. I believe that whatever you go through in your childhood have some sort of influence on your life as a whole. Tell us how your childhood was like.
Okay, so I grew up in a house where my father was into music. He was the first music director of our church, KWESI Baptist Church. He actually founded the choir in the church, so he would go for rehearsals and I'll follow him. My mother was actually part two, so whenever they would go for rehearsals, I'll go with them. I think my older siblings all used to sing.
Okay.
Unfortunately, none of them took it to this extent.
Oh.
Yes, but that's how I grew up, in a house where everybody could sing. So it was easy, just that they didn't know I was going to take it to this extent because my father was very key on education and he wanted me to, he actually gave me a name because he wanted me to become a lawyer. So he named me Justice. So I could become a lawyer and all that. So at the point when I wanted to do music full time, it was a bit difficult, even though they were all into music. But I mean, however, they had to agree because that's what I wanted to do. So growing up was awesome. I mean, there were people around me who were all singing at church and all that. So it really helped me in my growth.
Yeah, the fact that, music somehow runs in the family.
Yes,
it was easier.
Yes,
easier. Okay, now tell us, how long have you been doing music? I understand that you have been producing a lot of people, the likes of Selena Boatin, among many great artists over time. Tell us how it started and how long you've been doing this.
Okay, so I would say, let's say, 24 years now.
Oh, wow.
Producing and music. Is it 24? Well, I think professionally, I did my first production in 2006. That's professional. I was doing it, but when I settled as a music producer, where I had a personal studio or a studio that I was running, was in 2006 that I started doing production, and it was an amazing feeling the day I picked my first contract as a music producer. Unfortunately, I was excited when I was going out because I knew that I was going to get paid, and when I come home, I was going to give the money to mommy and tell her, now, Charlie, now I'm a big boy.
Yeah.
I went out and I received a call that mom died.
Oh, no.
That's sad.
Crazy.
I've never said this anywhere before. Sad. So I came home and I was broken. It was hard for me. However, life goes on. So from there, we moved on. We tried to get better. That was when we recorded Selena Boatin in 2009, Makume Mudo for Papa.
Okay.
Went on to work with Ernesto Poku, Kai Bosheno, and many others. I think quite recently, I did one with Dinah Asamoah, evangelist Dinah Asamoah, Sandra, and Obapa Christie, Father, the glory belongs to you. And also recently with Mabel Archery, Higher Choir.
Wow. You've been doing great over time. Yeah.
That's a lot. But what would you say is the hardest part of doing all these things together? Because you are also a worship and a praise leader. You're a singer and a producer. So what's the hardest part of putting all these things together, and what's the fun part of doing all these?
Okay, actually, I realized that both of them are very demanding, so I sacrificed one. I put on hold engineering in 2010. I decided I'm not doing engineering again. I went straight into full-time ministry. It's been 14 years now.
Wow.
However, these names I mentioned are people who I know personally, and they still believe in the gift that I have. So once a while, I go to the studio and work for them. As I'm speaking to you, I'm working on project. I don't want to mention a name, and they are waiting for me to get back to the studio, and I'm on the tour.
Yes. But it's also good.
Yeah,
promoting
it's
my
also
song. So I told them, wait, when I come back, I'll get to the studio. It's difficult because the demand from events, programs, church services, and all that, and you have to say that. And when you are like me, where excellence is key for you. I don't rush in doing production. Sometimes it takes a long while.
Yeah.
It takes a long while for me to say, okay, I am done with this. And so it's demanding. So I realized I couldn't do both and execute very well.
Yeah.
So I decided, let me put one on hold and just focus on one. But from time to time, I try to help brothers and sisters who still believe in what I have, and they really need me to work for them. I try to do that, yes.
In that 14 years era where you have been ministering, impacting life, for you, what does it mean for you to have the opportunity to impact and uplift people, even through your ministry, your worship, and also your music?
It's been a blessing. It's been a great joy. When I was doing engineering all those while, I felt something was missing because I've always been a church boy. Yes, but there was a time I could barely make time for church because even on Sundays, I'm in the studio working on people's projects. So it becomes hard.
Yeah.
It becomes hard. But when I decided, no, let me put this thing on hold, even though that was what was putting food on my table and all that, I said, no, I've saved enough. Let me put this on hold, buy books and build myself, because I tell people all the time, I went to JHS and that was all. I never went to SHS. I never went to university.
Oh, really?
But I knew that God was taking me somewhere, and that will require that I better myself for the platforms ahead of me.
Yeah.
So I started buying books, educating myself what ministry is made of, what you need to know, and all that. Because one day you will not be called to sing, you'll be called to speak. And it demands that you better yourself and all that. So it has been a great joy. For the 14 years, it hasn't been easy, but I can say I won't have it any other way. It's the process, and when you pass through it and you come out, it speaks for itself. So it's been a joy.
Okay.
We can tell that you had a lot of experience, indeed.
We wouldn't end the conversation with you, but then joining us this afternoon is QUESI ERNEST, who's the CEO of Media Excel Production. Like I stated earlier on, this Sunday we had a very bad news, Koda passing, and the whole Ghana is mourning. Fans, followers of his music, and also the gospel fraternity are mourning. And since we are still paying tribute this afternoon, we want to talk to QUESI ERNEST, get to interact with him with the passing of Koda and what his music means to us moving on as a country. How do we even honor him? Good afternoon, QUESI.
Good afternoon, madam. How are you?
I'm good. Yourself?
I've been under the weather small, but I'm fine. I'm recovering. Yeah.
Okay, so before we talk about Koda's impact, how his music influenced, inspired, and also uplifted people, tell us how you have known Koda and what was the reaction like upon hearing this news?
For me personally, first of all, let me say a special good afternoon to my son in the studio.
Okay.
QUAME GYEDU.
Yeah.
He is a son to me personally. We've had very beautiful encounters from the early part of his ministry, and I'm still part of the ministry. And it's been a blessing working with him as well. He's a blessed son, and I wish him the best in his music career as well. Yeah. Now, when it comes to Koda, personally, my very first encounter with him was, I think I was one of the first persons that actually got him a gig to perform in London some few years back. Seeing his craft, seeing his live performances and all that. I was very excited seeing such a big talent, coming all the way from the Western region. You remember that if you look at history, if you look at the likes of Amy Newman, if you look at Pastor Joe Beecham, if you look at the likes of what do you call it, the Western Diamonds, and all these great artists that have come from Takrady, Koda became like the new face the new phrase with the contemporary skills and ability to really connect between the youth and then the old as well. At the same time, too, he actually also became a hope for the region. Looking at what Kofi Kinata from the secular community is doing in Takoradi.
Yeah.
And then we had a very strong figure in the person of Koda, also trying to echoing the strength of music from Western region. It made the whole thing very beautiful because if you go to Western region, then you have Kofi Kinata doing his own thing with the secular, and then we have also had a strong contender, Koda, also amplifying gospel in the region. And so it made the whole conversation and it made the whole system of music in the Western region very beautiful. And it made some of us who are in the forefront of the industry very proud as a whole. And so personally, my dealings with Koda has been very exceptional. He's a phenomenal artist, a performer, a songwriter, and a producer as well. Such a great talent.
Yeah. I mean, you have shared with us some of the greatest contribution he has actually had in the gospel community. But then, what do you think can be done moving forward? How would his music continue to impact generation? And even as a country, what can we do to honor his music and also his memories?
I think that first of all, let's look at a few of the works that Koda did. How he evolved into the music space. Now, and I know that Koda, when you go to Western region, had a band. And I'm saying that it's important for us to sustain that band, that growth of a group that he built, that strong band that he formed in the Western region, that was giving us year by year concerts. I mean, it was one of those concerts that Nasir actually visited, was invited, and then Nasir and Koda did that big hit in years back. You understand? And so I'm saying that we need to look at a way to solidify, because in most cases, if you look at history, like most of the times, all the top artists, once they are not available, the moment they're not available, or the moment they are off the scene, looks like all the thing that they left behind like goes down. And I'm hoping that the band, they will be able to sustain that kind of that kind of spirit that he left behind in his memory. And I think that is something that is possible. All of us as stakeholders, we need to really come together and see how we can sustain that group that Koda left behind, because they are a formidable band in the Western region. On all locations, they'll be available. Personally, also as what we can do as Ghana, you know, Koda is not an artist that we can just mention his name and then just sweep it under the carpet. He's a strong gospel artist, a contender for that matter, from that particular region. And I'm saying that Ghana, for all the celebrations and the messages that we've seen for the last 2 days of his demise, I think that we need to give him a befitting burial, celebrate his achievement, and possibly document some of the great things, some of the great recordings, document some of the achievements, positive achievements, the band, the revolution of band, performance, gospel music, creativity, ability on stage to perform with a guitar. We should be able to document something like this, as document all these ones, also for the next generation to come. And I'm saying that also for the fact that he is a lead guitarist, and I'm saying that we should, Koda's guitar, the one that he's always seen with on the stage, I think that should be placed either in the regional museum office or in the nation's national museum, so that at least we can have a document, something that the next generation will come and that once in the history of Ghana, we had one strong, high-life gospel contemporary performer in the person of Koda, who came to take gospel music to the next level. And I think that this is very commendable. It's something that we have to do.
Yeah.
In most cases, we don't have this, and we keep losing all these great legends. We keep losing great legends. Recently, you heard, we lost KK Kabobo.
Yeah, that's true.
Such a great talent.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, we lost KK Kabobo. And trust me, all these legends are passing by. but there's nothing in their memory. We haven't documented anything that will allow the next generation so that to come and study about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's important we do it.
Yeah. KWESI Ernest, thank you very much this afternoon for sharing these words with us. We really, really appreciate your time. Yeah. So we've been speaking to KWESI Ernest, who is the CEO for Media Excel Production, and he was giving us some tributes about Koda. Helen.
Yeah, rather unfortunate situation, but hopefully they are able to work around it so that his legacy will live on. Now back to KWAME GYEDU. But what are your thoughts briefly before we go on to your what's new on your table, among other things? Koda is gone. What else do you think can be done moving forward?
Thank you for the opportunity. This past Sunday was hard. I had just closed from church. I walked into my hotel room, then I received a call that he was gone, and it was hard for me because for me staying in Kumasi and making sure that I make the impact that we have been able to make in Kumasi was because he spoke to me and he told me that God can bless a man regardless of his location. You don't have to move from where you are before God can bless you.
Yeah.
If you are diligent in what he has given to you, he will bless you regardless of your location. So it was a blow to me. It was hard for me. But I think like my father said, Dr. KWESI Ernest said, if we can make time and preserve some of the things that he was able to achieve, like he spoke about his guitar. This is something unique that we have seen him play with so many times, recorded a lot of great songs with. So if we can hang it somewhere that people can actually go and see, it will be a great thing to do as a country and as a people.
Very well noted. KWAME GYEDU, what's new on your music table?
Okay, so we just released a new single, Saberima, Mighty Warrior, and that's what we are promoting. I mean, it's a big tune in Kumasi now. We just got to Accra, and last week Sunday we had the privilege to minister at the Davidic concert with my big brother Akese Brempo, and it was the first time playing it on a big stage in Accra, but the response was crazy. Yes, I think the song has already taken a lead of us, and we thank God for what he's doing.
Oh, okay. So what's the way forward? Are we to expect an album from you?
Yes, we actually recorded an album,
the
Intimate album, and we still want to record one more track with my big brother Emoji, and we are working towards it. When that song is done, then we are going to drop the full album. So for now, we may probably drop 1 or 2 singles after Osaberima before we drop the full album.
We'll be looking out for it. But now tell us your take. I want to take you a bit into the TGMAs. What do you think will be winning artists of the year?
I am praying that one of my people picks it up. I haven't really paid attention to it. To be honest, I haven't
For
really
the Gospel of the Year.
Yes,
no,
because
Gospel of the
Artist of the Year.
Artist of the Year.
Okay, there's Nasi there.
There's Nasi there.
He's the only.
I think he has worked hard. I mean, Aseda is a big tune. Wherever you go, Aseda is a big tune. So I'm really praying to God. It will be a big win for the kingdom, for gospel music. And so I am praying that he picks it up, even though I haven't really paid attention. And thank you for that. But I know he will do well.